Thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Obviously, when you're playing the number one team in America, you have to play better than that. I appreciate these guys. Haroon was terrific in the second half, helped us a great deal. J. Mike always plays hard, but when you make a mistake against a really good Purdue team, they make you pay. Matt Painter does a great job. The point guard's just absolutely elite. And, the backboards, we have to figure out the backboards. And, you can't beat the number one team in America when you spot them plus 11 on the glass. So we got to figure that out. But it doesn't get any easier in this league. I think, Michigan's as good as any team in the country. So they're up next, and they're an excellent rebounding team too. So we got to figure that thing out.
Go ahead, Jerry.
Steve, you played your freshman extended minutes in that second half, and you played them out there together. Why did you do that, and what did you think of it?
Energy. I was just trying to find some rebounders too. They didn't do a great job in that area, but they gave us some energy. They can score a little bit too, and against Purdue, you got to do both. You got to be an elite defensive team, and you got to score enough points, to beat them. And I just liked how, they gave us a spark, off the bench, and we have 7 of them, so we got to play them, and we got to find minutes for them, and we're still a work in progress, especially when you're playing teams at this level.
Brian?
Steve, looked like Dylan was on the bench for an extended period in the second half. Was there something you didn't like about what he played?
Well, I just thought Haroon came. Yeah, Dylan's got a rebound. I mean, that's the number one thing. He and Darren Buchanan Jr. have got to rebound for us, and I just like the other guy's energy, and we need him. We need him to be really good. He still played his 25, 26 minutes. He's averaging 29 minutes. So, but need him to rebound, and that's an important part of this thing moving forward.
Greg and then Matt.
Steve, this was Fall's first game since Central Connecticut State. He only played 2 minutes tonight. I mean, what kind of a role do you see him having for this team going forward?
I'm just trying to find somebody to rebound. So, put him in, gave him a chance, put Javante in, gave him a chance, they're all going to have their chances, and they all have. I mean, he didn't play in the first half and play great in the second half. They're going to get their chances if they keep swinging punches, and if they keep doing what we need him to do. We're going to find guys that are going to, get up and rebound. So he'll have his chance coming around. I do like he's coming off his best game of his career with a double-double. And, Bryce has been, productive in his minutes. And so there's not a lot of minutes left at that position, but need those guys to be more consistent too. So he'll get his opportunity.
Matt?
You guys were able to cut it to a 1-point game in the first half. That being said, what were some positives you take from this game heading into Michigan?
We've played minutes this year really well, and we had some spurts, and we did some really good things at set times. I mean, they're just such an elite team. I mean, they played 150 games together as a unit. When you make a mistake, when you're late in screen coverage, when you don't have your split hand down on those pocket passes, Ren, causes, tremendous problems, and then they surround, the best point guard in the country with, elite shooters and a big guy that can rebound. So, you got to be elite, on that defensive end, and we were hoping we could keep them in the 70s. That was like, 70 points. Could we do that? I think we kind of could, but we made way too many mistakes, and, second shots got us. But, some minutes, we showed that we could play, with a really good basketball team, but not enough minutes in this league. You got to play 40.
Brian?
Steve, I'm just curious to hear your thoughts on Braden Smith and what makes him so good.
Well, first of all, I mean, he's such a good shooter now. Not only do you have to guard him on pick and rolls to pass the ball, and he's got elite vision, he's tremendously crafty, and his ability to create his own shot. He fades away, he makes mid-range shots, he comes off and takes some off-balance threes, and, they just swish. He plays with an experience and a swagger. I mean, he's going to be the all-time leading assist guy in college basketball history. So this isn't just a regular guy. This is going to beat Bobby Hurley's record, which has been for 30 years. So, and he can do everything too. He'll defend. He's gutsy. He makes free throws. He's, be glad when he graduates. That's for sure.
In the back here, and then Alec.
Is it a change in strategy or discipline in controlling the glass?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things. I mean, you know, there's a will about rebounding, you know, that you can't teach. Like, rebounders rebound, and you know, you got to have a knack for going up there. You got to like physicality too, and we're trying to. I mean, we do more rebounding drills than any team in the country. We talk about it. We send them texts about it. We email them about it. You know, but we got to find a way to do it, or I got to find the right guys that are willing to, you know, sacrifice. But there's no reason we can't be a good rebounding team. And we've had games where we've been, you know, a good rebounding team. We just have to do that consistent. It has to be part of our package. It's killing our defense too. Our defensive numbers are bad because, you know, we don't rebound. And then we foul too on second shots. And I think they got 11 second chance points tonight, you know, like we lose by 15, 16 points, you know what I mean? That's a big part of this thing. So, you know, there's strategy with it. There's some substitutions with it. You got to find the right matchups. When we do switch matchups, then you're put in tough places sometimes. And the way they run offense, you got to kind of switch at times. But we'll continue to address it, and we'll find some guys that are dedicated to it, and that's what we have to do next.
Alec and then Jared.
You guys went 13 games, and you played a lot of different lineup combinations and lineups over these past few games, I guess. As the schedule starts to heat up, where are you and the staff at in terms of finding that solidified rotation?
Yeah, I mean, the guys will find that solidified rotation. We did not have 2 good practices leading up to this, you know, and that's, you know, we got to do a better job of practicing consistently, and the players, you know, got to be more consistent, because this team has had 5 different guys score over 20 points in a game, you know, but then, you know, we don't have the consistency. We got to find some guys doing that every night out, man. And you know, it takes time. We got 7 freshmen and a lot of newcomers learning some things. So the consistency's got to be there, and you know, we got to find it. It's still, you know, I wish I had every team figured out. I know Matt has his team figured out. He knows he's playing the point guard 35 minutes. He knows he's playing Kaufman-Renn 35 minutes. He knows Fletcher Lawyer is playing 35 minutes. And now he knows his center Clough is playing. You know what I mean? You know, that's the luxury of having 150 games under your belt. You know, 7, 8 games. You're still, you know, trying to figure some stuff out. And some of our guys, like Caden Powers was our, you know, best player the last 2 days in practice. So he got a chance today to get in the game because of the work that he did in the last, you know, couple of days. But, you know, he's got to be more consistent too with his minutes.
Jared.
Steve, as you noted, it seems like some of those Purdue guys have been there forever, and Matt Painter, when he was in here just now, was talking about the value of having these guys here year after year, and how do you deal with that? How much of a difference does that make, and how do you sort of work around that in the portal era? Continuity,
Yeah,
I
I mean,
guess.
retention is a huge part of this, and you got to have the resources to retain. You know, that's what he's been able. You know, and he does a great job. But that's been a challenge for 3 years. You know, you know, J. Mike has gotten better over 3 years. He knows our defensive coverages. He's you know, but we're lucky. We had 3 years with him. You know, there's not many of those guys. There's not many in our program. We got a couple of guys with 2 years. Dylan Grant, you see the jump he's taken in just a year. Bryce Dortch has gotten better. Emmanuel's gotten better. You know, but those are the only veterans. Like, if I call a play out right now, I used to be able to call a play out if I hadn't run it in a year or two, and I could have a team, you know, diagram it up and they would remember it and run it. You don't have that luxury. You know, when you change up defenses and some different coverages too, you know, if everyone's not connected on that coverage, you know, in the past you'd have veteran guys, they knew how to rotate and they knew what that stuff meant. So, you know, you gotta just keep practicing, you gotta watch film, you gotta keep these guys, you know, on top of it, but you only give them, you don't give them the full plate until they know what they're doing, you know, with the stuff that you have in. So adding stuff, and especially at league time, when you kind of know the habits of teams, you know, you miss having veterans, and you know, he's got them, he's blessed in that way, he's got great veterans too. But we don't, but that's not an excuse, we gotta figure it out, you know, that's what this league is all about. You gotta figure it out in a league that has, I think 6 ranked teams or 7 today. How many teams in our league are ranked?
7.
I mean, 7 ranked teams, 18, like, so, this is a league that, you know, you better figure it out.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
You
Thanks
guys
for
were
being here.